It's time for another take two with Therese for Altenew, and I've got a couple of fun projects to share with you today. I'm going to start with this. It's a graph die cut tape. It's kind of like a washi tape, but not. It's one of the newer releases from Altenew. I've been hanging out to try this stuff and haven't had a chance till now, and it's such fun. So it's got this kind of a plasticky feel, and I thought it would be really great to add colour to this. So because it has that sort of plastic, I knew that the alcohol marker would, like the alcohol ink, would actually colour this. It would be difficult, like normal dye inks wouldn't hold on this. I didn't try them. They might, but I just had so much fun. So I'm really just playing here, trying to add like a mix of colours. I've used some greys, and then I thought the Desert Night would be a really good mix to add in with it. So I was blotting it away, and I just love how that piece of paper turned out, the blotted piece of paper. So now I'm doing it purposefully. I'm adding lots of colour, and it's too dark. I actually took some away, added a little bit more, and then I come in with a piece of cardstock, and this is the Nina 80 pound, and I'm adding my colour directly to the cardstock, and this is alcohol marker ink, and how cool does that look? So that's going to go on one of my cards, but I want to use this die cut tape as well on the other card, because this is actually a stamp highlight post today for the Rosy Outlook Stamp Set, which is just beautiful. And I found that adding the marker directly to the die cut tape, the colour held better and didn't rub off at all. So I'm doing some stamp layering now, and this Rosy Outlook set is really easy to line up. I've got all the pinks here. I thought it'd be nice to have a really bright pink with those greys and blues, and it's from the Cherry Blossom set, and I use all the layers here. And I am stamping out a few flowers as I go, because I might as well. I'm taking the time to line them up in the MISTI, and it's always handy to have a few flowers on hand or use them to make an extra card design at the time. The other thing I usually do when I'm stamp layering like this is mix up my colour a little bit, and you'll notice in one of the cards a little bit later on, I've actually used a darker pink roses, and that layer I actually started with the second pink instead of the palest one, so I started with the Pinkalicious. And I use the Andromeda one as the final layer. But I will have all the colours listed at the blog, and the link will be in the description below. I used the classic Greenfields set for the leaves here, and I tend to go for the limier colours now. Is that a word? I don't know if that's a word, but anyway, it is now. I do like the classic Greenfields set though, and I thought it'd help these pinks pop by having, now I can't say, it's not true to say that it's a duller colour, but it's a deeper green. Maybe I'll say it that way. Alright, so this is the card I'm going to actually use the die cut tape on, and I've cut a couple of pale grey panels and popped them up on some foam, and I want this tape to be recessed behind just to show a little portion. Now I think it's because of the alcohol marker ink, and I did add a stack. I played with this stuff for ages before I actually decided to actually just use the markers themselves on here. So it did stick to my card really well, but I found on the inside though that to make sure that it didn't peel up, I did add some liquid glue behind the edges, and you'll see that I could actually rip that tape. When it was on the backing or the release paper, I couldn't rip it because that was plastic, but after I removed it from that, I could. So I've added some white. This is the pure white ink splatters, and did wait for that to dry because that does take a little bit of time to dry. And then I'm using my Altenew glue tape, and I did actually add some fun foam behind where my flower is going to sit. And what I like about this glue tape is it is very forgiving. So I can come along, move my elements around, which I had to do here because I misaligned them. I could see the fun foam behind my leaves, and I didn't want to do that, so I did have to move my whole little bouquet, it's not a bouquet, my stem over a little bit. And the good thing is I know that I can do that with this tape, but it will still have a strong hold in the end after it has sat for a little while. So for my second design, I'm using the other piece of cardstock that I created with the graph background, but the sentiment I want to be the word high. So I've die cut it with some pale grey cardstock, and I'm using, this is from the Dot Botanicals, the word beautiful. And to line it up, what I've done is I've used my negative space of my high, just stamped it on some scrap paper that was behind it, and once I was sort of happy with my alignment, I did come in and put the original die cut H in there. Now you'll see I did actually lose a piece of that cardstock here, and that's because I recut my H. And I originally was going to stamp it out in black, and it was just too bold. I didn't like it, so I changed my mind, re-die cut the H, put it in place and stamped it out, but this time with the industrial diamond. So I've got some dark grey cardstock. I'm just using this as a highlight on the edge of my card. This is going to be a top fold card, and I've attached that directly to the card front. And I have added some, I've cut down the panel of the graph panel that I created, and I've added some fun foam behind that because I want that to pop up off the card, and just adhering that to the front of my card as well. And then I just need to sort of work out where I want my little bouquet to sit with my sentiment, and I fiddled with that for a while and didn't make you sit through that. And I'm just attaching all my flowers directly either to the card front and or popping them up. Usually what I do is actually die cut the letters again with some fun foam, but this time I just used some pop dots because I wanted them to look like they had sort of an edge behind them, just to make them look a little bit different. So of course I'll link everything at the blog, and like I said, that's going to be in the description below. Thanks so much for joining me here today. Till next time, have a great day. Bye.